Question.
Having said that, it is all about protecting our environment and our ecosystem, so you have to understand that too. But what I'm saying is, when you take that other chunk out to the east in Franklin County, there is no other land to be developed to increase your tax base and thereby spreading out some of the costs of what we're all paying now. So it's a, you know, it's a catch-22. You know, because that, to me, that was the potential of creating more home sites and creating more population to help bear the cost of what we try to do here. But when you do away with that, there ain't gonna be much land to be spreading out or have any kind of additional help to try to pay the tax base, or spread the tax base out some.
Yeah, and I appreciate Alan showing that because, you know,
I mean, it happened in our lifetime.
Yeah,
This is a
yeah,
big change
yeah.
in our lifetime.
and that's what our, you know, that was back during the stages back many years ago when we had the building, but this is what we've tried to show people. This is who's paying the taxes in this county. This is, that right there, along there.
White.
And the people that spotted in there that lives amongst it. But, I mean, that's it.
Big question?
Yes, sir. What is the green area?
Green is, the state of Florida had some other parcels, and so basically the red and green and blue is all public land.
They got us landlocked, huh?
You know, pushes into the ocean.
Coast lot. That green, you see, that's the state wanting our money.
But it's a very, very strong visual statement. And Liberty County has the same arrangement, but it's all national forest of Liberty County.
Yeah, and they're maxed out at 10 mils.
Exactly right.
Oh, yeah, they.
I have to say that. I mean, I popped that out there, y'all, but I'm sorry. But they maxed out at 10 mils and don't know where the money's coming from.
We have
You
no
know,
way of
and-
generating additional.
They have
revenue.
hardly
That's
nothing
right.
up there.
I know.
They got way less than we got.
It concerns me with everything. There's more items in here than just a sale of a piece of land, which I love the bluffs of St. Teresa myself with Corn Landing, Halfway Lake, and all those other areas. But I'm real concerned of the legal, us on the legal part of it, and concerned about the tax base.
All right, Mr. Allen, how about it?
Okay, all right, I don't know, did it help you?
Do you have something to say?
Well, yeah, I thought you might want to know the process for the Art Council, for the, putting it on the board, just for your information, so you can plan, and know how that process goes.
Raise the mic up a little bit.
It's,
Hear you a little bit.
it's called the ARC. It stands for the Acquisition and Restoration Council. And like Mr. Pierce said, it passed the first review on Friday. And what that does is it allocates state money to go and further investigate the environmental, do environmental surveys on the property. After that is done, then it comes back for a second review. And if that's approved, then it gets put on the list. And then in December, it joins a long list, and it is very long, of properties that are already on the state purchase list, on the Floor Forever list. And each person on that council ranks, gives them a certain number of points, and it gets ranked. So that's the process. And then it just waits until the state comes up with money.
And I guess what's confusing, and I say this because I spoke to Paul, Ms. Allen, I mean, there was a bond issue that the voters voted for that was supposed to generate an awful lot of money for land acquisition, but that hasn't necessarily come to fruition.
No.
So the bond issue could have generated up to $300 million a year, or that's the goal that the state, that the bond promoters had stated they were trying to get to $300 million a year of land acquisition. But last year, the legislature only funded $15 million. So there's a big gap between what the expectations are going to be and what really was funded.
Yeah, and there are an extremely large number of properties on the list, and a lot of money. I mean, even if they had $300 million, it'll still take a while, probably. I mean, who knows what'll happen, but, you know, that's how it's ranked, and that's how the process goes. I thought you might just want to know.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Dan Tonsmeyer with Apalachicola Riverkeeper. Most of you will probably remember the visioning process that we went through with St. Joe, and tried to put together what was a reasonable plan for that area. You know, it has a high water recharge for the county. There are a lot of sensitive areas. And, you know, we negotiated over buffers and all kinds of things. So maybe Elva can answer the question, but maybe following what Cheryl and Smokey are saying is that we could ask DEP when they're doing this evaluation to try to let us have a little discussion, a county meeting or whatever, to discuss that kind of a deal where it's not all or one. And is there a place in the process that kind of a meeting or discussion can happen?
Well, the process is open. You can write a letter in to the committee. You can meet with anyone on the committee at any point in time. That it's just a process of putting it on the list. You are concerned about management of it. That actually would come later after the state. All those details come later after its acquisition.
So it can't be acquired in part. It's kind of all or none as far as.
It can be acquired in part.
So how does that discussion happen?
I would say you would probably want to speak with the people who are presenting it, Saunders Real Estate.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to address what Commissioners Sanders and Parrish were saying about you definitely want to protect your tax base, but because it's such an ecologically important area, if there's some way we can try to find a way to weave that path along this process, the earlier we get in the process, the better. And I will just do a little checking for you and let you know if there's a possibility.
I don't know of any project that's been done that way, Dan. I'm not saying it can't be done, but usually when they do it, they want it all, and then they shut it down to the public. The public's not allowed to go on it, even though it's been bought with public funds. And then it just compounds from there till you actually develop a management plan and all this.
That's what I'm saying.
And you know, the more land we buy and exclude the public from, that's one thing that gets me totally aside from what I was saying earlier, is they buy this stuff and the public's not allowed to use it. Well, it's bought by public funds, it's managed by a public agency, but the average John Joe can't step foot on it. I mean, so what are we doing? You talking about conservancy, to me, that's to allow people to enjoy, and it don't happen. You know, it might let you have a hunt on there in November or something, but that's it.
So you referring?
have no other access to that property whatsoever, because it's such an expanse amount of property, it's 17,000 acres. They don't have the people to put out there to patrol it, to make sure any activities going on is a legal activity and these types of things. So they just fence it off and that's it. It's in conservation and that's it. Nobody gets to utilize it. Nobody gets to enjoy it. But you're going to buy it with public funds. Where does public funds come from? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Box R out here. The only time you can get on that property is if you're selected for a hunt during a certain number of days, and the rest of the year nobody's allowed to access that property or utilize that property or anything else. That's aside the point of the tax base and other things. Myself, I understood all the stuff that we went through with St. Joe and the comp plan revisions and all this and all the animosity to where we don't want this developed, don't want that developed. I think you can develop things in a certain way and not have expanse development, but still have your conservation lands within that and other things, and expand the tax base so that all our property taxes could come down some because we got more people paying it. So, you know, it's a trade-off, but normally when they talk about 17,000 acres, they want it all, it's fenced off, and that's it. You know, nobody's allowed use of it. We get no benefit of it. When I say we, the county taxpayer gets no benefit of it. Right now, we're getting $1 an acre. Well, when you sell it, we don't even get that. So,
Mr. Chairman,
there you go.
I think it might be worthwhile for us to contact the Realtor and the owner of the property to kind of see what their plans are. I believe that the Friday meeting, Weyerhaeuser had a large project in Alachua County, and they ended up withdrawing a portion of that to go on the list. And so I think now's the time to make some contact.
That was what I was suggesting, is trying to trying to get earlier, entering the process earlier is better if we can.
Thank you, Dan.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I want to know, is there any kind of way we can contact the state and ask them for more money for all this conservation land? Everybody want conservation. And the poor people in our Franklin County, you know, some of these people just here making money to pay the tax.
Do they not
They
do-
got all this land.
Well,
They got all this
The
land, they
legislature
paying
has
us dollars.
funded in years past payment in lieu of taxes.
That's
So
what I
for a
was
10-year period, you get paid.
But we've
I know
done
that.
sun- We've done sunset all them, but about maybe one. And
But
all ours are
I think it
sunsetted.
should be more than what they're paying, that's what I'm asking.
And our payment in lieu of taxes go to the school,
Yep.
so the county coffers don't benefit at all. This board doesn't benefit at all.
And when the timberland is cut off the, land, it goes to the schools too.
Yeah.
It's not given to, which I'm glad it does go to the schools, but sometimes they utilize stuff that they should be reimbursing. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alan Pfeiffer, Concerned Citizens, Franklin County. I'm listening carefully to this, and of course, I'm a resident of Alligator Point, and the 17,000 acres fronts us on 98. This is a kind of a one-time opportunity, and, you know, I want to echo Commissioner Watson's statement that maybe we need to contact the owner. Maybe there's some type of public-private partnership. Forget about the money, putting this into the trust. I understand we're very low on the priority list because we're such a big project and the pot is so small. And we'll get prioritized, and it may be that they're interested in it, but not necessarily for this year or next year. But if we really wanted to do something with this land, if there was an appetite for doing some type of public-private partnership, maybe we could have, we could form some type of committee or task force to reach out to the owner. You got a very deep-pocketed owner who obviously wants to get out from underneath it, but doesn't necessarily have to get out from underneath it in a very fast way. I think this is an opportunity. I just thought that when I'm listening to this and I'm hearing that we do want to grow our tax base, at the same time we want to protect our land and we want to make it accessible to the people for a variety of different purposes, this seems like an absolutely wonderful opportunity to take a step back and say, while we are talking about this because of a potential grant that could purchase the land, that while that's not very likely, it is the whole issue of the 17,000 acres probably should be discussed. And the place to do that is probably not at a commission meeting, but with your guidance and supervision, perhaps there's a way to approach this. And I definitely think talking to the owner and the real estate agent is a first step. But the whole idea of how to use that $17,000 an acre it goes right back to the visioning process, which I attended some of the meetings, not as many as Commissioner Sanders did. And a lot of work was put into that, and a lot of that is still salvageable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Alan.
All right. Item number 5, inform the board that and you already know most of this because it happened last meeting. Inform the board that Tropical Storm Colin came through last week and 2 weeks ago. The only significant damage to county roads is Gulf Shore Boulevard. Temporary access road the board built 2 years ago has washed out. I've spoken to Jim Martinello and Mr. Tony McNeil of the situation. At this time, the county does not have permission to rebuild the temporary access, so the 4 homeowners are having to do the best they can using ATVs to get to their house. Even though FEMA has authorized the use of some $400,000 to rebuild the road, I cannot seem to get anyone in Washington authorized the use of these same funds to relocate the road. The state, the property owners, and the county all want to relocate the road, but for some reason it is not being acted on in Washington. On Friday morning, after talking to Commissioner Sanders, I did call and talk directly to Brian Coons, the Florida EM director. I told him of the great delay that has been going on in Washington. I gave him the details, and he said he would investigate and get back with me. On Friday afternoon, Mr. Coons did call back and say he had made contact with FEMA, and he's expecting an answer within this week. And he has the authority that we don't have, that he can make an official request, and FEMA has to respond to him in a timeline. With us, they just ignore us. So I'm hoping that we hear something very quickly. And as you already know, the main Alligator Point Road and the enhanced revetment that we just completed suffered little damage, so the main access to Alligator Point was safe.
and I think one of the things that's holding it back too, Alan, is that a lot of people at the FEMA level felt like this was part of Alligator Point Road.
I think they did too.
And
yes.
I think that lady that you talked to in Atlanta that I gave you the number to,
right.
felt like it was Alligator Point Road, and this is something totally different. So maybe we'll get something from, Mr. Coon.
Yeah, I appreciate getting the number, yeah. I was surprised, I called a cell phone, I thought, oh yeah, I'm really gonna get a hold of the state emergency management director, and he answered the phone. I said, well, I got you, I'm not gonna let you go. So I appreciate that.
That's good.
All right, last item is item number 6, a store update. At this point, all documents and contract amendments have been submitted to Treasury. Dewberry and I believe the county's planning grant will be forthcoming and should be effective July 1. Once we receive the grant award, then the county can officially begin the process of developing our multi-year implementation plan for the BP funds. That's item A. B, inform the board that the approval of the MYIP, as it's called, is only the beginning of the process trying to get Treasury to allocate funds for projects. Other counties ahead of us, and these are the 8 counties around us principally, who are in the MYIP process, have run into these additional problems with Treasury. I just want to give you an idea of what's ahead of you all. Before any project on the MYIP is approved, Treasury is requiring a project use the best available science. Other counties are complaining that they are spending an inordinate amount of time, staff time, trying to document what the best available science is for each project. At this time, I do not believe any county in Florida has been able to start a project using restore funds because of this criteria. Second one, Franklin County will be receiving approximately $1.5 million into its account at Treasury every year for 15 years. Treasury has not agreed to let counties bond projects to future payments. So unless the board wants to self-finance projects, which we don't have money for, and then repay itself as BP comes in, the scheduled projects on MYIP cannot exceed the timeline for the money to come in. So as an example, if the first project or our highest project on the MYIP contains $10 million worth of restore funds, Treasury will not approve the project for 7 years, as that is how long it will take for the money to be paid into the account. They're forcing us into doing small individual projects. That's what they're forcing us into. And then the third thing is, and this is coming from other counties around us, administrative costs for restore projects is capped at 3% of the funds, but other counties are finding that in order to comply with Treasury's multiple requests, the administrative costs have been greater than 3%.
You
So-
see what's going on there,
Yeah.
don't you? Okay, that's all I got.
So you all who are going to the FAC will hear about some of this. I just want to give you a heads up. This is what other counties are running into already. And that's the end of my report. Mr.
Thank
Andy.
you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Michael Morone, County Coordinator.
And Michael told me to speak longer than he did, so that's why I was doing it. Really? Make him look good.
No matter, we're gonna be here all day.
Yeah,
No
we'll be all
matter.
day anyway.
We here till 3 o'clock.
Item 1, inform the board that Pebble Ridge has finished designing the ballpoint widening and resurfacing project and has submitted the plans to DEP for approval. As part of the road is seaward of the CCCL. Because this road resurfacing is a state grant, Pebble Ridge, as the road designers, cannot inspect the construction. So on July 19th, the board will open bids for the widening and resurfacing of Ballpoint Road, yay, and will also open RFQs for an engineering firm to do the construction inspection services. The RFQs will then be turned over to your review committee to come back with a recommendation of the most qualified firm. But because of state restrictions, once again, it cannot be Pebble Ridge. I will put these 2 items on the July 19th agenda. Just inform you, we're moving along. Speaking of moving along, inform the board that East Point and St. George Island Fishing Pier improvement projects are progressing. As the board is aware, new bathrooms will be installed at both of these locations as part of the improvement project. East Point Sewer and Water District, Water and Sewer District, has asked for a letter from the board requesting that the district to own and maintain the sewer line from the vacuum pit on Patton Drive to the new restroom, including the small lift station that will serve the restroom. I recommend that the board direct Attorney Schuler, Mr. Clay Smallwood of Pebble Ridge, and I to meet with Mr. Billy Fuentes and Attorney Banks, both of the district, the Water District, to discuss this matter and further nail down the wording of the letter that would be acceptable to both the county and East Point Water and Sewer District.
So moved.
Have a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
I'll also add, if you need to include the county attorney, you can, you know.
Yes, ma'am, yeah, I did, I
He's
guess.
out here.
Yeah, because,
County attorney,
their attorney will be there, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
county,
Fun,
Attorney
fun.
Schuler, I didn't know who Attorney Schuler was.
Fun.